Hey guys, welcome back to Justin Reads Romance. I'm Justin and today I'm starting a reading vlog for the Historical Romance Readathon. This is like wintry themed and there's a lot of prompts, okay? And I will confess that I did not pick the majority of these books based on any of the prompts. I basically went through what I had or what I wanted to read that was historical romance and I put it on there, and if it fills some prompts, I'm excited about it, and if it doesn't, oh well. I was just really excited to be participating in a readathon because it's been so long. My finals are done. I have lots more free time. I have time to edit a video and I'm just excited. So I am starting this a day late, so it started on the 6th. Today is the 7th and my final was yesterday, so now I'm done and I'm really excited. So there's lots of prompts. We have green or red on the cover. Grace Burrows, which is a group pick book. Takes place during winter. Marriage in Trouble. 2021 release. Non-titled hero, which I love those. In a series. New to you author. Clinch cover. Not in Europe. I don't think any of my books on my TBR are not in Europe. Those are hard to find for me. If it's not Joanna Shoup, if it's not Beverly Jenkins, then I'm like, they're mostly set somewhere in Europe. Rogue in the Title, Wallflower, Marriage of Convenience, Wrecked to You, Lady Heroine, and Book You Already Own. A lot of these books I already own, so I'm already starting off pretty great, I will say. Okay, so the books that I chose to put on my TBR, I scoot over. We have the group pick, which is Lady Sophie's Christmas Wish by Grace Burrows. I've never read Grace Burrows before. I'm excited to try her out. A Scoundrel of Her Own by Stacey Reid, because this is an arc that I own and I've been meaning to read it, so I definitely want to get a jump on that so that I can be on time with my arcs for once during the semester. Slightly Married by Mary Balogh. This was recommended to me on Patreon when we had a Marriage of Convenience trope, as well as my next one, which is A Wicked Kind of Husband by Mia Vincy. Now, Mia Vincy has been recommended to me on Amazon, and I had seen her book covers. I think they look really pretty, and then it was recommended on Patreon again, so I was like, okay, I really do want to discover some more indie historical romance authors, and this one sounded great. Then we have A Holiday by Gaslight by Mimi Matthews. I know nothing about this book. I was like, I love this cover. And it's for sure a holiday book, so I plopped it on there. And then I thought, I have not read a Jude Deveraux, so I want to put one on there, and I decided to start with The Black Lion because it was just one that I had seen a lot. That one in A Knight in Shining Armor, but I know that she has a very long series, kind of like Joanna Lindsay has the, she also has a long running series, and I forget the family name, but I think Jude Deveraux has one as well, and maybe some crossover between families and stuff like that, so I put The Black Lion on there. I also may or may not have gotten on eBay and ordered some of these books. I don't know why. It's not like they're going to get here on time. Probably not. But I am excited because I did find one of the original covers for The Black Lion, and I really like that one. So I'm going to kick off this readathon with Slightly Married by Mary Balogh. This is on AnyPlay, and I don't really have that many audiobooks. I actually might buy one of these books on audio just so I'd have another one. But I already know that Slightly Married is on AnyPlay, and I will be starting this one today. What I do know about this book is that the hero goes to tell the heroine that her brother has just died, and so now she's in kind of financial straits. She's not able to inherit the home because of some clause in like the will, and he offers to marry her just because she's in a tight spot, and this is going to be marriage in name only. He's going to go and live in London and, you know, be a military man, and she's just going to stay at her estate, but something does not work out. They're not able to just have a marriage in name only, and I'm really excited because I've heard just a lot about the Bedouin family and how they're such a really good historical family to read. I can't believe it's taken me this long to actually read a Mary Balogh because I see her name all the time and know that she's a very prolific author. And I think that I'm starting off on a good series because this is probably the most recommended historical romance series that I've gotten recommended to me that I haven't already read. So I will start that audio and I will be back to let you know what's happening. I need more information and I'm very excited to see what the Bedouins are all about. Ollie, tell them hi. We're going to update you on Slightly Married by Mary Balogh. Say hi. He needs a haircut. He's too fluffy. Oh, buddy. Are you too fluffy? Are you ready to go night-night? Okay, go night-night. Goodbye. So, I'm here to update you on Slightly Married by Mary Balogh because I binged the audiobook today. I really like this Marriage of Convenience because I really like the different personalities between the couple. It's more like a grumpy sunshine pairing. I really like the stoicism of Aiden, which was really great because, I mean, he's really hiding behind his stoicism. He's not really cold or closed off at all. He's one of the more, understanding of the Bedouin siblings, because we meet his brother Wolfric, who is the Duke, and he is way more closed off. But like, they hide this soft side, and it's amazing once you see them like that. And I really love the heroine as well. Eve was amazing. She was she was a good Samaritan. She loved taking in people who needed help. All of her staff were people who couldn't find work because they were like ex-convicts. They had disabilities and stuff like that. So I just really fell in love with her character and how she took in 2 orphans who come to play into later in the plot. And I just really love them together because... So it starts off as a marriage of convenience, okay? Her brother dies, and there's this... Where are you going, buddy? Okay. There's a stipulation in the will that the property goes to Eve upon her father's death, but only for a year. Okay, and after that year, the property reverts to her brother, but her brother ends up by dying in the Napoleonic War, and he had written a will, the brother, that upon his death, the property would go to his sister, but he didn't own it yet. At the time of his death, the property was still in possession of Eve. The year had not passed, so it was not his to give in his will. So her property would have been given to her cousin, Cecil, who is a horrible human being. Would have kicked out all of her servants, would have kicked out everybody, and just like put them on the streets, didn't even care. And that's where Aiden's chivalry comes into play, because he offers to marry her in order for her to keep her estate, and then he just like, we'll just continue on. It'll be a marriage name only. I'll go on to, have my military career, go into London and visit my family, and I won't interfere in your life at all. Well, he goes to London, and his brother's like, we've had an invitation to honor soldiers, and they invited, Colonel Bedouin and also Lady Aiden Bedouin as well. He's like, is there a Lady Aiden Bedouin? And his brother's like, there is, but she wants to live her own life, blah, blah, blah. But the Duke is like, look, Scandal's not going to be attached to her name. So this is not just going to be a marriage in name only. We don't want scandal. We don't want it to look like you abandoned your wife. So he becomes involved, and I really love it. I really love it. So anyway, I really like the family. I did feel like I wanted to see Aiden and Eve be more connected as a couple, because there were just lots of misunderstandings. Nobody wanted to admit that they had deeper feelings because they agreed on this marriage of convenience. They agreed that it wasn't going to be anything more than just, I'm marrying you to protect you. I'm not looking for anything more. They weren't looking for consummation even. So anyway, I just thought that it was a little bit drawn out, but I still really enjoyed the book. I really enjoyed the characters, so I gave this book 4 stars. So tonight, I think that I'm going to pick up the arc of A Scoundrel of Her Own. That's what I plan on starting to read as I fall asleep, and then getting more into like the meat of the story tomorrow. So I think that's my plan. I also have the audiobook. I ended up by getting the audio for the Mia Vincy book, which is a wicked kind of husband, I believe, which is also kind of a marriage of convenience. That's what I'll be listening to tomorrow for the most part. So anyway, I'm going to see how many books I can get through, because on Thursday, I do have to kind of pause my readathon. I will be still reading a historical, but it's for the podcast. I have to read a book that we were reviewing in January for the podcast, and that's going to be my Thursday book, which is not included on the podcast. Buddy, can you tell this dog is so high maintenance? Look at this. Look at this. What are you doing? Do you just want scratches? What's happening? Are you okay? You okay? He looks like a damsel. Ollie, what are you doing? He's tired. It's time to go to bed. So I plan on picking up A Scoundrel of Her Own. I'm really excited about this one. It's been a while since I've read the first books in the Simple Wallflower series. So anyway, wish me luck on that one. Hopefully it'll be as good as my first book. Huh, buddy? Oh, he's so cuddly. Why are you so cuddly today? Are you Teddy? Are you Teddy Bear? You Teddy Bear? Alright, guys, I'll update you as soon as I get more into A Scoundrel of Her Own tomorrow, and as soon as Ollie stops seeking attention. Okay, so I did an oopsie. I thought last night that I could just start A Scoundrel of Her Own by Stacey Reed and read a couple of chapters, fall asleep because I was very tired. I have like a sinus drip right now, so sleeping is just like not super great for me. But I was sucked into this story and I binged the entire thing. I stayed up until I think it was about 12:30 or 1 finishing this book because it was so compelling. So, this is my review for A Scoundrel of Her Own, no spoilers. The first few chapters about our hero and our heroine when they're young are just, they sucked me in, okay? So we have our Lady Ophelia, and she is the daughter of a marquis. She's riding in the carriage with her nanny over this bridge that is like not great, and it falls into the river, okay? She's being swept away and she's rescued by this boy named Niall, and she actually comes to with her being slung over his shoulder, and he's coaching himself saying like, I can make it just one more step. And he's like even smaller than her. And it is just like so heart-wrenching, okay? He's like this little boy who literally was out with his family, saw this girl in the river and jumped in. So he's about 12 and she's about 8. And like I said, Niall is small for his age because she's like, you're younger than me. And he's like, no, I'm not. And he finds this cabin in the woods, a gamekeeper's cottage, and he's trying to keep her warm, keep her fed, and so they're bonding, and he doesn't know where he is because he got lost. Obviously, whenever you're like swept down a river, you don't know exactly where you ended up, and they're children. So they're basically waiting for her parents to find her and rescue them. Well, they're there for a couple of days, and I really love the bond that forms between them. And Niall even makes her this promise ring, like out of like twigs and stuff. It's really cute. And she makes him one as well. And it's just so adorable. And Niall's like, gives her a nickname, calls her Fifi because he doesn't want to call her Ophelia. She loves it. She's like, nobody calls me Fifi. This is so great. They're just the cutest. Niall says that he wants to marry her whenever they're older. She says that she can't get married until she's 17 and stuff, but like she'll wait for him. So all this adorable cuteness, and then the gameskeeper finally gets there and he's like, oh, thank God, Lady Ophelia, everyone's looking for you. So he takes them both to the house, and one of the things that Ophelia revealed to Niall was that she's like, I don't know if my mother loves me. My father hugs me and plays with me, but my mother, like, she really doesn't do any of that. And Niall's trying to reassure her, like, she misses you, she loves you, she's looking for you, she's wondering. So there's a strange relationship between Ophelia and her mother, but when she gets there, her mom, like, throws herself onto her, and she's like, my baby, my darling, you know, all that jazz. So excited to have Lady Ophelia. And then Niall speaks up and he was like, you know, I rescued her. They're grateful until he actually opens up his mouth and tells her father, like, yeah, we were promised to marry each other. And he's like, you're a little street urchin. You're never going to marry my daughter. My daughter's going to marry a noble man with like a title, and like, just go, goodbye. My servants will give you money and drop you off back home. So later. And the whole time, Niall has been having this cut on his foot that he hadn't even told anybody about, because he was so worried about Fifi. So it's years later that we discover Ophelia's father was kind of on his deathbed. Everyone thought he was about to die. And he confessed something to Ophelia and then recovered. So he did not end up by dying, but he confessed something that he's been keeping from her from the longest time. And now he can't take it back, and she wants more information. Her father confesses that the woman that she has known as her mother is not her mother. The Marchioness is not her mother. And her biological mother is someone that he had an affair with. And he doesn't want to give her any more details, but she's begging him, just tell me her name. And he says, Miss Sally Martin, now don't ask me anything else. And this is tearing her apart. She wants to know, who is her mother? What happened to her? Did her father just steal her away? Did she ever wonder about her? So Ophelia has the voice of an angel. She actually sang to Niall, and she's going into the seedier parts of London trying to discover if she can find anything about a Miss Sally Martin. And there's this guy, like one night she gets accosted by these people, and there's this guy in the shadows. He has this dog with him, and he's just observing everything. And when she actually stands up to her would-be attackers, he recognizes her. So this is Niall, but he's now known as Devlin Byrne, and he kind of like controls a lot of the seedier sides of London. He's made a name for himself, and he's very rich, which is something that he wanted to do in order to be good enough to marry his Fifi. He has suffered these past like 14 or 15 years immensely, but he is now very wealthy, very well known, even though he's not a gentleman. So Devlin, aka Niall, kind of becomes her protector when she goes into London. She will go in disguise wearing a blonde wig, which is why the cover model has blonde hair instead of black, because Ophelia has like black, the shade of a raven's wing, Niall says. He says it's a very distinctive color of black. And she wears a blonde wig to go in her disguise. And she sings, and she starts getting messages from this Devlin Byrne. So she doesn't know that this is Niall. And so that's how their romance begins. The sun is crazy. I'm sorry about this. This is just like getting really dark and then really bright. It's very cloudy today and overcast. But he wants to get as close as possible to Ophelia. And of course he does, like eventually toward the beginning. He reveals himself, and she's fascinated that Niall became this man, Devlin Byrne. She's also really attracted to him, and he's really attracted to her. So I really love this pining and also the vulnerability between these characters, especially Niall. The way that he just did not think that he's good enough to be with Ophelia, though he has all this money, like he went through hell to be able to make a name for himself and feel like he had enough money to offer for Ophelia. But still, now that he's, wizened and knows the way of the world, he knows that Ophelia would never accept him, but he's looking for something from her, any little scrap of affection that Ophelia could give him. Ophelia's parents, even though they're in dire straits with money, as often is the aristocracy during these days, they still are doting, and she's even a little bit spoiled. They don't want to force her to marry anybody, even though they really do need an influx of cash. They don't want to force her to marry anybody. So she is just kind of left to be on her own to do what she will. This is why she can get away with like leaving at night and going in disguise, singing at gaming hells and everything. But let me tell you, this is so freaking romantic. Niall just does the sweetest things. There's this gesture that he does for her towards like the middle of the book, and I almost cried because it was beautiful. It was just kind of like a throwback to how they first met, and I love the way that he did that for her. I also had this moment where it kind of broke my heart. Like I felt so bad for Niall during this one scene. It was just freaking beautiful. The only complaint that I have about this book, so I'm going to give this book a full 5 stars, but I do have some minor nitpicky things that I didn't love about it. I felt like there was some things that people in her family did that they really needed to I don't want to say suffer, but they need to apologize, grovel. They need to have something that showed that they were sorry for the suffering that they caused people and Ophelia and everything. And I just was looking for some sort of something towards the end, and I didn't get it, and I was kind of mad about it because I was like, no, I don't know. It's definitely a thing for me. If I feel like one of my characters is wronged, I want the person that wronged them to have to grovel, apologize, do something, even if they're family. I don't give free passes to family. I don't care if they had their excuse, oh, we loved you so much, whatever. You still owe them an apology. You still have to say sorry. Just because your family does not excuse you from that. So I'm hard on situations where families just kind of get a free pass for acting badly. And I wished we got a little bit more in that regard without doing spoilers. Overall, I really loved it. I'm really excited about the next one in the series because it seems like the next book in the series, one of Ophelia's friend is disguising herself as a man in this aristocrat's home and possibly is acting as his valet. So that would create very interesting situations where they would be put in kind of intimate settings where she would see him unclothed and have to dress him and stuff. So I'm very excited about the next book in the series. I just love this. I love this series. I think the Sinful Wallflowers are really great. So again, 5-star read for me. Now today I'm going to be listening to the audiobook for A Wicked Kind of Husband by Vincy. This is the 3rd book in her Longmore series, something with L, and I haven't read the previous 2 books, but so far I'm keeping up. Like, I don't feel like I needed to read the previous books. It does sound like the heroine, Cassandra, she has a friend, Arabella, and she might have a book in this series. It just kind of sounds like it because she's now married to a marquis. Again, this book, like the opening chapter really sucked me into the story because I feel so bad for Cassandra. She is kind of in charge of her family now. She has 2 younger sisters. She has an older sister who's now married and really is not like helping her with her younger sisters. Her father has recently passed away within the past couple of years. Her mother kind of like is not all there. She has very few moments of lucidity. We don't actually know exactly what her illness is, but it's basically all up to Cassandra, and her younger sisters do not appreciate her being like the mother hen. They are very annoyed with her. They just want to have fun, especially Lucy. The first chapter is she's observing her sister Lucy, who's getting drunk off of brandy. And she's basically telling Cassandra how she's like a killjoy. And it's just like, it's so hurtful to Cassandra because she's trying her best. She's trying her best. They don't have any money. She really needs to make it to London to prevail upon her grandmother, who is a duchess, but like her grandmother really doesn't have anything to do with her family. But she's like, I need to make it to London and see if my grandmother will take in Lucy and give her a debut, get this child married off because, oh my God, she's a handful. And we find out that Cassandra has been married for 2 years. It was a marriage of convenience. Before her father died, her brother had recently passed away. He was a soldier, and her father wanted her to get married after she was jilted. So she was engaged. I don't know if she was engaged to this guy or there was just like a public understanding that they would get married, and he jilted her and he elopes with somebody else. So our hero is actually that man, her former fiance / potential fiance's brother. They're half brothers. And this is like, there's so much going on with this book, but to me it's very, the way that Mia Vincy writes, it's not complicated to understand the situation, but there's lots of elements at play. Our hero, Joshua DeWitt, he is the bastard son of an earl, but he grew up thinking that he was the heir to the earldom. It turns out that Joshua's dad is a bigamist, and they later find out that his mother was not lawfully wed to his father because he still had a wife that he had like sent to an asylum and pretended that she was dead. So he's very bitter about this, and his younger half brother is the one who was engaged to his wife, Cassandra. And he married Cassandra because he really respected her father, but it was a marriage in name only. They consummated the marriage. It wasn't even that great. And he goes to London. He's like, you stay at your house and I'm too busy. I'm a man of business. I have a lot of things on my plate and I don't need you in London underfoot. He actually has a reputation of being a womanizer as well. He sleeps with a lot of married women. So when she does make her way to London, and this is all in the first few chapters, like I said, this is kind of like a very fast-paced, action-packed book so far, and I really love it. The banter is really great as well, but when she makes it to her first ball, she's with her friend Arabella, and they don't even recognize each other, and they're already rubbing each other the wrong way, and they don't even know that they're married at first. They're like, you're an annoying woman, you're an annoying man, and then someone informs them, y'all are married. It was such a great situation. It was such a great situation. So I'm loving it so far. Cassandra does not back down when Joshua is just like basically telling her that she's a nuisance. Ollie, where are you going? Ollie just like changed positions and messed up my whole flow. I just love the way that Cassandra stands up to Joshua. He wants her to pack up and go to the country, get out from underfoot, like now. And she's like, absolutely not. And, you know, instead of arguing with me, it would be easier if you would just cooperate with me. So I really love this. He's very intrigued because he's an intimidating guy. And usually people just kind of like listen to exactly what he wants them to do. And she does not. I love his internal thoughts because he's just like, no, must not lust after my wife. Like, no, what are you talking about? Don't do this. I'm really liking it so far. I plan on listening to this all day. Hopefully, I'll finish this and be able to pick up the group pick, Lady Sophie's Christmas Wish. So those are my plans for today. Read the Mia Vincy, pick up Lady Sophia's Wish, and go from there. So far, this readathon has been amazing. I love all the books that I've read so far. It's just been really, really great, and I'm really happy about that. These historicals are just like hitting the spot. So I'm really glad. that I participated in this readathon. I will update you guys as soon as I get more into the story and have some more information, because I don't know what's going to be the big conflict besides him not wanting her in London and her needing to get her grandmother to help her with her younger sister Lucy, who doesn't appreciate her. So let's chat about A Wicked Kind of Husband by Mia Vincy. I really like this book. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars overall. I think that it was really great. I especially like the pacing and also the banter. I feel like the banter, the wittiness of the novel had a lot to do with why I liked it. I really like the interactions between the hero and the heroine. Like I said, it was a very complicated type of story, but I think that Mia Vincy did a really good job of laying all the chips out without it being so horrendously discombobulated that you're just like, what the hell is going on? Like, I felt like I was like, I know what's going on. It's book 3 in a series, and she did a really good job. Not that their situation had anything to do with previous situations. I'm just saying, like, I jumped in to this book as a standalone, and even though their romance was complicated, there's a complicated history between Joshua DeWitt and Cassandra's father and her family. It worked out really great. Okay, so one of the things that I really look for when I'm confronted with a angsty romance, because I have a threshold of angst that if I hit that threshold, then it becomes like an uncomfortable romance read for me, and it's no longer enjoyable. And I feel like this romance did a really great job with the angstiness of the book, because though they are a married couple, though they have not quite as many obstacles as other couples would have to be together, because they're already married, it's already legal, they can be together. It's really their internal conflict that's holding them back from each other. And what I really like about these characters is that they recognize that there is a pull to this person. Joshua recognizes that there's something about Cassandra that he really loves, and even though he's committed himself to just be like, I'm not a one-woman man, and I prefer to have mistresses who are experienced and just know the score, and I can be done with them. And Cassandra is like, I'm not interested in having this person as my husband because he's not a good partner. They still recognize that there's something about that person that draws them in, and they're fighting against it. And one of the things that I really love is that the author has the characters acknowledge in their head, in their internal monologue, that, oh my gosh, am I being stubborn about this? Yes, I'm being stubborn about this, but I can't stop myself. To me, that's really human. When you recognize, am I doing a bad thing that's probably going to get me in more shit? Am I making more problems for myself, but I still can't stop myself because of fear, anxiety, whatever? That's very real to me. At least I know that this character's motivations aren't because they are blind to what they're feeling. They're not. They know what they're feeling. They just want to reject it. And I find that to be the best way to execute angst if it's going to be prevalent in a book. And that's why I get so aggravated with some books who have so much angst, because these characters just will not acknowledge their part that they're playing and how much angst they're experiencing. I at least want them to acknowledge it, because if you don't, then you're a stupid character. And I don't feel like these are stupid characters. I feel like they are very real human characters who have flaws, and I really enjoyed them. So I really like them. Cassandra's sister, I don't like her very much, and I'm wondering if she might be the next book in the series. So this is book 3 in the Long Hope series, and she has her come out ball towards the end of the book, and she's drunk as usual. She has a problem, and she throws her shoe and says whoever catches this is going to be my husband. And then the crowd clears and it's a footman, but he's like, I didn't catch it, somebody gave it to me. So it's like kind of a mystery on who caught the shoe. So I don't know if she's gonna get a book, but she really annoyed me because of the pressures that she put on Cassandra. Cassandra is just trying to hold this family together. She's just trying to do something good for the family, and the siblings just don't appreciate it at all. They just look at her as a killjoy, somebody who's squashing her fun. They don't want her to do this. She just has a lot of rules, and they're just like, I don't want to follow them. I just want to have fun. They have no idea about what she's been through, and they have no idea what constraints she's working with monetarily, socially. They're just clueless, and they're just living their best life. and they don't care that Cassandra's suffering. So that's why I'm glad that Joshua is a person that has very broad shoulders and he can carry all that weight for her once he decides that he's the man to do the job. And I just really liked it. So I really like Mia Vincy. She has a very, very fast-paced writing style, and I liked it. I'm very glad that I picked this up for the Historical Romance Readathon. I want to go back to the first one. I know that it's like a yellow cover because it reminded me of like Beauty and the Beast. So the first book is called A Beastly Kind of Earl. So it is kind of Beauty and the Beast type of situation. I'm excited, and then I believe I had kind of guessed that her friend Arabella had a book. So the second book is called A Dangerous Kind of Lady, and the heroine is Arabella. Okay, so that's what I thought. So I'm interested to see how book one connects with this series and if I recognize a name from A Wicked Kind of Husband in book one. Okay, anyway, I really enjoyed Mia Vincy. Like I said, 4.5 stars. I thought it was really great and I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know which book I want to pick up tomorrow. I have, lots of choices that I could go through. I'm just not sure what I'm feeling. Most of the authors that I have on my TBR I haven't read before, so I think I'm just gonna go by like mood. Reading is weird. It's a lot to do with just like, I don't know, title, author, book cover. I don't even know what's going to actually push me over the edge and be like, this is the next book that I'm gonna read, but I guess I'll figure that out tomorrow and I'll let you guys know which one I'm gonna read. But I've just been having a really good time for this readathon so far. It's been going really great. I will update you guys tomorrow. Hey guys, I kind of did it again. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that I end up by binging an entire book in the middle of the night. My voice doesn't sound amazing this morning because I'm starting to come down with like a sinus cold or whatever. So I feel like it's been keeping me up at night, which is why I've been binging half the books I've been reading for their readathon in the middle of the night. So I couldn't sleep, obviously, and I picked up A Holiday by Gaslight by Mimi Matthews. I knew it was more on the novella length side, so I thought that that would be a good thing to occupy myself while I couldn't sleep. So I picked this up and I really like how it starts because our heroine Sophie and Ned apparently have been like courting for about like 2 months or so. But Sophie's just like, it's not working out. We really don't have anything in common. He doesn't really talk that much. Like, I do most of the talking. I really don't know anything about him because I'm the one keeping up the conversation. He's so stoic, and I just don't want to marry somebody who I don't see us working out, Even though her father's a baronet, he doesn't have a lot of money. She knows that she needs to marry to help her family out, but she just does not see herself with Ned. But the problem is when she's like breaking up with him, it's like early in the morning. It's like frozen outside in London, and she sees the first real emotion from Ned while she's kind of breaking up with him, and she's thinking to herself like, I think I might have hurt him. And she didn't think that he had any strong feelings toward her at all. It was just kind of like, I'm a man in my prime, I need to get married, you sound good. But when she's breaking up with him, she's like, I think I might have hurt his feelings. And he may have invested more in this courtship than I originally thought. It wasn't her fault though, because he really didn't do anything. So when she goes back home, she tells her parents, we get this conversation with her mother, which is very interesting. Her mom and Sophie have been the ones to make the sacrifices in the family because apparently her father can't help but spend money. He likes to modernize things. He wants his house to be modern. He's already started to put gas in his house on the assumption that Sophie's about to marry Ned, and Ned is new money. He works in he has factories and stuff like that. So he's new businessman, no title. And her father's kind of working on the assumption that Ned's going to be funding all this. And her mom also says we have to think about your sister. Your sister loves pretty dresses. And so it's such an unfair situation. Sophie always gets the dresses that have to be remade, fabric that's been worn a lot. And her sister gets the new stuff. So Sophie's the one that always has to make the sacrifices. So she does feel bad, but she also is curious about what's really going on with Ned. Could she really make a go of things? It would be nice because Ned does have money to save her, family and help her sister marry somebody that she truly wants to marry. because she has, you know, expensive taste. So she needs to marry somebody with money. So Sophie takes it upon herself to go to Ned's factory, and her sister accompanies her. And her sister's just like, oh my goodness, it's dirty. I can't believe you would lower yourself to come down here. Like, it's all dreary and dirty and smoky and ew, gross. I'm staying in the carriage. I'm going somewhere else. And so Sophie gets down by herself. She's unchaperoned. And what we find out about Ned, it kind of like, it like my heart just like did a little squeeze, because Ned had met Sophie during a ball and saw her and thought she was so graceful and beautiful and just like so lovely. So he actually really does have like a lot of tender feelings for her. And he consulted this manual on like how to court, and it's very like proper and like says don't ever mention this, don't ever do that, keep the topics light, don't like delve into feelings type of stuff. So he's basically been getting bad advice from a manual, and I like my heart because he really likes her. So I thought it was super adorable. Sophie basically says, listen, I'm just gonna be very blunt. I think that I might have hurt your feelings. Of course, she doesn't admit that, but she says, I think what we lacked in our courtship was honesty. Like, I need to know, you know, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. I feel like you weren't very interested in me at all. I did all the talking. And he was like, you talked mostly about the weather. I don't know what to say about the weather type of stuff. So anyway, they just have a very frank conversation. She's like, look, I'm willing to give it another shot. Hopefully this courtship would go differently if you would like to court me and marry me. My parents are having their annual Christmas ball and house party in their country estate if you want to come. So Ned's thinking about doing this. And he also has a business partner who he's just like, maybe you should court her like you would court somebody from our, you know, station. Maybe you should court her like you would court a girl that you grew up with type of thing. Even though she is part of the aristocracy, like just court her like a woman, you know? So that's where he gets his advice. Long story short, Prince Albert dies during this book, so the country is in mourning. Half the people don't want to go to the house party anymore. So Sophie takes it upon herself to invite Ned's parents as well as his business partner to this house party. So there's lots of mixing of the stations and stuff at this party, and I think that this book was so freaking beautiful. I loved it. It's very low steam, you know, because it's just like a courtship thing. And I was definitely getting North and South vibes. And funnily enough, in the author's note at the back of the book, Mimi Matthews said that she was inspired by it. So Ned was inspired by Mr. Thornton, which I freaking love North and South. And also is such like a coincidence because Crystal just posted on Twitter the other day, and I'm rarely even on Twitter, but of course the one time I am, she retweeted a post that I think it was Lisa Kleypas had done about North and South in the kiss at the end of the book, where at the train station was just the most magical thing ever. And I totally agree with that. Like, it's my favorite scene in that movie. It's just, it's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful. And I had the same feelings about this. Like, it was very low steam, but when they were together, it was so achingly sweet and beautiful. I was like, oh, this is so sweet, and it's just a kiss. So I love this book. I gave this book 5 stars. It's a 5-star holiday novella. I love it. And I'm very interested in going into Mimi Matthews' backlist. I don't know if all of her books are very low steam like this, but if she tells stories with this much heart, I don't mind if it doesn't have a lot of steam. So I'm willing to try her backlist and see what else she has. So is it my favorite of the readathon? I don't know. I've been having really good luck with this readathon. I've really liked all the books that I've read so far. Today, I don't have any more audiobooks for the rest of the readathon. Try not to spill my coffee. I do have Lady Sophie's Christmas Wish. I found this whenever I went to a thrift store, so I have it on paperback, but I think what I'm going to do is, since I like to listen to an audiobook while I work, I'm going to listen to the next Immortals After Dark that I'm doing. So I'm going to have like a little bit of break from historicals during the day, and then tonight I'll pick up this one, and then I'll update you guys once I get into this. I haven't read anything by Grace Burrows yet. I don't know if this is part of a series or if this is just like literally a standalone Christmas novel. I'm gonna have to go look it up on Goodreads to just see if it's part of anything, because it says the Wyndhams, the Duke's daughter, so I don't know if that's a series or not, and this is like a family that I should know about. So we'll see how that works out, but I'll update you guys later. Hopefully my voice sounds a little bit better later. And I'm sorry for the crazy hair. This is literally first thing you're getting behind the scenes. I definitely woke up like this, like for sure. This is really what I look like. Disgusting hair and all. Anyway, I will update you guys later. Bye. Okay, so it's a time for an update. First of all, where did I leave you guys? So my plan on Friday afternoon, after I listened to an audiobook, and I totally lied because Anyplay did have the audio for Lady Sophie's Christmas Wish, but I just needed a break from historicals on Friday, so I went back to my Immortals After Dark reread, and that's what I did on Friday and on Saturday. And I read a contemporary on Saturday as well. So I just kind of took a break from the historical romance readathon. I could have finished these books, but I didn't. And we'll see how far I get today, because I don't know if I can read both Lady Sophie's Christmas Wish and The Black Lion, but I will try. Okay, so this morning, I also had to like get ready because I realized I didn't even take a thumbnail for this video, and I was like, might as well look presentable. So half of the clips in this vlog was me in bed with no makeup and crazy hair. So I thought I'd, change it up a little bit. And I started reading Lady Sophie's Christmas Wish, and like I said before, I saw that it says the Wyndhams, the Duke's daughter. So this is part of the series. It is called Wyndhams, and I've read any of those books in the series. So I'm not very far. Obviously, I'm like on page 26. I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm not far at all, but I don't think that this book starts off well to read as a standalone, because it really starts off in the middle of some action. There has been like basically all the stage coaches have been canceled or whatever. Nobody can travel because the weather's so bad, and everyone's kind of like stranded in London. And there's this lady with a very loud crying baby, and our hero, Vim, I believe his nickname is, his real name is like Wilhelm, the German equivalent of William. He decides to take it upon himself to be like, hey, can I be of assistance? Because he apparently knows how to take care of babies, which is awesome. I like to see that in a man. And he's not afraid of a crying baby. And this woman's not even the mother. And he somehow knows, he's like, I don't think the mother's coming back. Like, I saw her round the corner and it doesn't look like she's coming back. She didn't go to the necessary. She didn't go to the bathroom. I guess at this point in the book, because we're now at this mansion, this house, this guy has no questions about like, hey, whose house are we at? But we're at this mansion. She's just like, oh, Jolene, just calls the baby's mom Jolene. I'm like, who is the baby's mother, Jolene, to our heroine, Lady Sophie? She hasn't even said that she's a Duke's daughter yet, but the only reason why I know is because literally it says on the book, the Duke's daughter. She hasn't even told him that she's a Duke's daughter because he just keeps calling her Miss Wyndham. She hasn't even explained, he hasn't even said that he assumes that she is a lady's maid or something. I don't know what he assumes she is. I don't know what he assumes the relationship between the woman and Sophie is. Like, he is just not asking questions. She's not giving answers. It's just like very confusing for a person who hasn't read anything in the series to know the relationships between these people, between Jolene and Lady Sophie. Why is Lady Sophie in London alone? Why, if she's a Duke's daughter, does she not have a lady's maid? Was Jolene her lady's maid and she had a baby? Because it sounds like maybe this family, this dukedom, takes in strays or something, but again, I don't have that information. The way that it's starting out is not very clear. It's not very clear what's going on exactly. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't know anything about the hero. Also, I kind of find it weird that she's like, yes, random stranger, take the baby, come to this house and feel free to change the baby. Be alone with me, basically. Nobody's with them. It's just them two and the baby. So it's just weird because I don't know these characters' personalities. I don't know if this daughter is just used to traipsing about London without any supervision because maybe her family's super unconventional. I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything. So I'm not loving it so far. Not loving it so far. Like, in theory, I like Duke's daughter takes care of abandoned baby and has a man who is more well-versed in childcare help her. I like that in theory, the way that it's being executed so far. And is it fair because I'm only 26 pages in? Maybe not, but I just don't have a great feeling from this so far. Anyway, so I have that. I will see how far I can get. I actually rather read it in paperback than do the audiobook. I know I can read it faster in paperback than I would be able to listening to the audiobook because I will probably skim a couple things if I feel like it's boring. I also don't really love her dialogue. Okay, I'm gonna stop ragging on this because I haven't read a Grace Burroughs before. This is my first introduction. It's not a really great introduction. Then I actually just got this in the mail yesterday, The Black Lion. So I do have this in paperback, so I might be able to finish it. It's not even that long compared to the Christmas one. It's a lot skinnier. Yeah, anyway, I don't know anything about The Black Lion. I just put it on my list. But we'll see. How fast can Justin read in a day? We'll see. This is a challenge for me. But also don't get your hopes up because I have like some Christmas wrapping to do today. And then also I had asked my mom, I texted her because she also read The Hating Game way back when it was first published, and she really liked it. And I told her that they were making a movie out of it. And I asked her if she wanted to watch The Hating Game with me so that we can see what the adaptation's like. I actually have high hopes. I really like the trailer, so I'm not expecting a lot, but I also think it looks like it's gonna be really cute, so I'm very excited about it. I'll keep you guys posted, and I need to dive back in. I have a couple hours before I need to start like doing some things for Christmas. Hello my lovelies, it is time for an update for this book right here. Well, first I just realized I still had, if you can hear the crackles in the wind. I got this idea from Jen, and so now whenever I read, I put like some cozy fireplace setting on, and I like it, but let's quiet that down for now. Okay, so this book, I'm at page 186, and I'm gonna DNF it. I just don't love much about this book at all. I think that the chemistry is really lacking between the characters. I just can't get into them as a couple. I don't really care about Sophie and Vim's relationship. The baby, like, okay, my biggest problem with this is I find Grace Burroughs' writing to be a little bit weird. It's very stiff. I don't know what to, like, the everything. It's not even just the dialogue. It's just everything about her writing style does not wow me. It just doesn't wow me. And so it's very hard for me to push through for the rest of the book, even though I'm a little bit more than halfway. I don't see the point. Why? Because I really don't care about these characters. I really don't care at all about them. So I think I'm gonna DNF. And as much as I'd love to say that I'm gonna try to read The Black Lion, I just think that I'm a little bit burnt out right now. I'm burnt out for my TBR, not necessarily historicals, because I did download a Mimi Matthews. What is it called? I downloaded Fair as a Star, and it's book 1 in the Victorian Romantic series. So I don't know if I'm going to read that instead, but I'm not going to be reading the rest of Lady Sophie's Christmas Wish. I'm going to DNF that one. And then The Black Lion, I'll read that at some later date. So, because I'm pretty satisfied with all the books that I've read so far in the Historical Romance Readathon. Like, all the books except for this one were amazing, and I love them. So I don't know. I don't want to end it on a bad note. I don't want to push through and be like, ugh, it's still not worth it. I already wasted some time on it. So I prefer to just think about my wonderful books that I read toward the beginning of this readathon, and that's what I'm gonna do, and just move on. All right, so that is it. That's what I'm gonna round up with. I did not read a Grace Burroughs. I didn't read something that was not set in Europe, and I didn't read A Marriage in Trouble. There might be one more that I didn't read. But yeah, I'm satisfied with the rest of the books that I read. For sure, I have lots of other books that I want to read because of the ones that I read. Definitely Vincy and Mimi Matthews. Got a lot of M's in there. Very, very interested in looking at their backlist and seeing what's up. And I did see that Mimi Matthews has a book coming in the beginning of 2022, which I'm excited for. So anyway, I hope that you guys had a good readathon. I hope that you are getting your Christmas shopping done. I still have Christmas shopping to do. I wrapped some presents today. I packaged them up. I need to go drop them off at the post office tomorrow, but I felt very productive today. So at least there's that. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe to get notified in any future videos that I do. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, life's better with little HEA. Bye guys.